Four things that destroy your child at school. Four things that virtually destroys, breaks your child at school. I have said there are four things that virtually destroy your child at school. There are four things which, if they are not present in that school, for heaven's sake, do not take your child to that school. This is a very important discussion because many of us have often wondered why our children are breaking up, why our children are disintegrating. Children can break up, children can disintegrate at home, or they may disintegrate at school, or due to both factors, the available circumstances. And if there is anything that is irreducible, it is anything that will destroy your child. How many parents have compromised education over the well-being of their child? How many parents have compromised on the grade performance of their child over their well-being? And that's the reason why I felt that this is extremely important. And this is important because I have had the opportunity to attend trainings held by the USA. The particular training that I'm talking about is the sanitation and the menstrual hygiene. And it is during that time that my mind kind of got opened up, and getting to listen to a very senior educationist from Kisii County, also called Mr. Chacha, explain how he has handled his children, how he has related the things that he could not compromise about the well-being of his children, really kind of set my mind in high frequency. But if your child is not safe, if your child is disintegrating and breaking, then all children are breaking. So let me go straight to the points that are really should not be compromised, should not be reduced whatsoever if your child is to experience holistic, complete child development without having mental health, without having antisocial behavior, because most of this kind of unbecoming, undesirable behavior are largely contributed by the school administration. One, what is the quality of toilets? Let me use toilets because in Kenya or in Africa, we do not really have restroom. Maybe in the West, schools have restrooms. But in Kenya, and I believe in other African countries, we have toilets. By and large, they are pit latrines. I remember during my time when I was in high school, we would, whenever we were going to relieve ourselves because we were using pit latrines, we would find ourselves stripping naked. We'll remove the sweater, we'll remove the shirt, we'll remove the trouser, so that you enter the toilet with only your underwear. Because if you enter with your clothing in and you came out after that duration of maybe 4-5 minutes possibly, once you come out, your clothes are smelling, and therefore you enter into class and everybody is holding his or her nose. And yet these are still the very same conditions that we are experiencing. Our children are traumatized. Imagine your daughter, most especially, and I'll begin with the daughter. Your daughter is going into the toilet, and first and foremost, she has to squat. She is squatting on filth. She is squatting on maggots. She is squatting on a hole that is full to the brim. That whatever she is releasing, it is splashing back to her parts. No wonder children as young as 7 years, even 7 years, 6 years, are contracting UTI. Not because the children engaged in bad manners, but because of the kind of facilities that they use. The place of relieving, the place where your children go to relieve themselves, if so pathetic, it traumatizes the child. It reduces your child to the level of a prisoner, to the level of someone who is in remand. It is the people in prison, it is the people in the remand who relieve themselves in the bucket. And these are exactly the same conditions that our children are experiencing in school, what kind of a trauma it is to the child, and most especially to a child who has been brought up and raised up in a family or in a house where there is a flushing unit, in a house where the toilets, the restroom is clean, is always clean, there is water, even if there is no running water, but there is water to pour. And therefore, these are some of the things that really traumatizes, break our children, both boys and girls. Your child has a right to clean toilet. And before you accept admission of your child to that school, inspect the kind of toilet facilities that they have. Two, another thing that really demoralizes and breaks your child completely is the washing area. Many schools have open bathrooms. Teachers will often give excuses. The reason why we have open bathrooms is to discourage homosexuality and lesbianism in schools. But then what about those children who really need privacy? And we all know that many children are sensitive to their privacy, meaning that your child is forced to bathe like a prisoner of Sobibor. Your child has to bathe out in the open and cannot have the privacy of cleaning the private parts in a manner that is correct and right for him or for her. And we also know that amongst the children, their sexual organs, their body organs are different, and many children may be sensitive to their organs. They want privacy to their organs. I have seen, and even when I was in school, I saw a situation whereby there are children who could wake up at 3 in the morning to bathe before others have woken up. Waking up at 3 is not a sign of cleanliness, but it is a defense mechanism. Your child should not defend, should not fight for his or for her privacy, but the rules, the situation, the environment should protect the privacy of that children. Therefore, before you accept that admission, make sure that you have visited the washing area. Your children should have privacy. For those who want privacy, they should bathe in privacy. There are some who have peculiar, unique private parts, and therefore they want these private parts to be private to them, and they should not be exposed to the entire schools who will be mocking them, who will be laughing at them, because they saw what is forbidden. They saw the forbidden object, the forbidden body parts. Before you accept that admission, before you finalize admission, visit the washing area of your children, so that then you know the privacy of your child is guaranteed. Point number 3, whether the school has policies to protect the integrity, the respect of your child. Many teachers have uttered very destructive words to the children. Children have been called names. Children have been compared to things. But we have to realize that while there are other children whose psychological resilience is strong enough, there are some children who have come from relatively broken families, from relatively very unstable background, and these children, any smallest trigger about their life, about their family, about their identity, destroys them, completely eclipsing and breaking them down completely. And therefore, if there are those policies that there is a defined way of how teachers should relate with your child, then unless they are there, you'd rather take your child to a day school near place than send your child to an institution whereby your child may bring you an A, may bring you an A minus, but he comes out a broken child who will never amount to anything. Let us not compromise our children for the good grades. Lastly, point number 4, the accommodation area. I have seen a situation whereby students are sleeping in the lower bed, in the middle bed, and in the third bed. Imagine, second floor, there is a bed, there are 3 beds in a row, meaning that kuna floor ya kwanza na floor ya pili, and your child has to climb to the top, and not only that is enough. But the space between the beds is hardly 30 centimeters. We are talking of beds that are actually closely joined, so that you can even throw something like a book and it won't fall down. It will definitely land on a bed. If the accommodation area of that school is highly congested, for heaven's sake, don't accept your child. Do not take your child to a prison. Do not take your child to an institution whereby you are only more determined about academic performance and you don't care whatsoever about the mental, social, and emotional well-being of your child. Of what value is grade A when the bearer of that grade A has lost hope in life? Of what value is your child being in a big school with a big name, but at the end of 4 years, your child comes back home an empty shell? And these are the things that we must interrogate. I've only picked on 4, but there are so many other factors that we must not allow, that we must not compromise alongside the education of our children. Many children who have ended up being drug addicts in colleges, in universities, or later in their life were subjected to inhuman, deplorable school conditions. Your children were subjected to the most unimaginable conditions in the school. Did you ever bother to find out where your child goes to relieve himself or herself, where your child goes to bathe, where your child sleeps, how your child is spoken to and treated? You didn't. And that child comes out of secondary school a broken child, a complete human beast. And when that child even comes to position of service, do you expect him to act decently when he never lived decently? Do you expect him to treat you humanly when he was never treated humanly? And you, the parent, who was supposed to protect him and follow up with his conditions, with his education, even environmental conditions of the school, you didn't. You are only more concerned about paying school fees and seeing good grades. Dear viewer, thank you so much for accompanying me in this episode. And like I said, if this is your very first time to watch, please subscribe to this channel. Secondly, and very, very importantly, let me hear what you have to say. How best can we navigate around this? What should we do to ensure that the very children that we got, watoto tuliowazaa, tukawalinda, we protected them, they are protected all the way through their education, through primary school, through secondary school, and even through university? Click the bell, click the like, and let us be a progressive generation of parents geared towards protecting and helping our children. Thank you so much. Until next episode, God bless you.